Art is subjective. You've heard it, I've heard it, and those words have most likely fallen from your own lips at some point in your life, maybe even recently. The part of it that is objective most of the time is the price. The Mona Lisa doesn't have a price tag, but it's widely and pretty unanimously considered the most valuable piece of art in the world. On August 5th, 2008, a man named Armin Heinrich launched his debut app, I Am Rich, on the Apple App Store, with a price tag of $999.99. The price was the highest allowed in the App Store, and Apple took it down the day after it was published. The app didn't do anything at all, but 8 people bought the app, and Heinrich was $5,600 richer. Now what if I asked you if that app was worth the price? Did it have a reason to exist? Was that app worth existing? Florence is a compact package. It originally released for mobile devices, and it only asks you for $6, which is close to maybe $1.50 for each 10 minutes you would probably spend with it. I wouldn't be surprised if most people haven't heard of the game, either because they're casually involved in video games or only involved in AAA things like Doom and The Last of Us. Florence is a more subtle experience, with floaty indie music and an art direction crafted to carry the story along with it. Florence's story also isn't grand. There are no flying monsters to shoot out of the sky, or robot assistants telling you where to go, or boxes attached to each fence just above the tip of your head. That being said, there is a dragon for Florence to slay, and whether you want to call that dragon monotony, or depression, or loneliness, or lack of fulfillment, it's there. Florence's life is gray, in a way my own life has been more times than I'd wish. With your finger or cursor, you'll brush your teeth with her, eat sushi in front of a TV alone, and like photos popping up on her social media feed. Notably, the only person the two of you interact with in your whole first day together is her mother. That conversation is pretty bare bones. For me and most other people, I would assume, unless you're extremely lucky, you've been here. I'm honestly only just climbing out of only seeing muted grays and lifeless blues around me. A few weeks ago, I didn't leave my bedroom hallway for 3 days. Multiple days I've gone without seeing another person, not being able to conquer what feels like an insurmountable challenge of getting out of bed or moving from the spot I'm sitting with my back against the wall. When you're stuck somewhere you can't help yourself, you have to hope to be lucky enough to find an out, something to bring more color into your life. For Florence, that color comes within 10 minutes of your time with her. On one of her walks, she catches wind of a musician on the street, and she's quite literally lifted to the tune of his playing. But of course, it's more than that. Music isn't just about the product, it's art, and it's centered in the people making it. For me, music has been an incredible part of my first year of college, and it's a significant part of who I'm always going to be. Seeing the same local bands play different spots around my city over and over, knowing the names of the members, having them remember my own, that's the most prominent part of its beauty. The best night of my life was a free house show. I got to spend so much time with a band touring from Boston I'd been following, and when they came back a few months later, their faces were just as bright as mine when we saw each other. Florence's interactions go significantly differently. She introduces herself to the guy playing music on the street, by way of bike crash, but it's an introduction nonetheless. Visually, he's bright. The waves of his music are yellow. The world around him becomes bright when him and Florence get close. His name is Krish. The two hit it off. They go get food together and conversate, leading to more dates, more colors. In high school, for me at least, meeting a new person alone was an incredible opportunity on its own. In the quote-unquote real world, or adult world, meeting someone you really connect with is a godsend. In a world where all the adults I know settle into a routine of only interacting with family and the people they work with, give and take a few old friends, the future social landscape seems intimidatingly barren. Even outside of that context, it's rightfully beautiful to mutually map someone out and get a feel for things. Before their first kiss, Florence and Krish's conversation is portrayed as a little puzzle for you to put together, and it gets easier and easier until the moment the three of you are waiting for. From that night onward, the same things Florence was doing at the beginning of the game are a little bit prettier. Krish tells Florence about his goals as a musician, his passions, his art. After that, Florence is more aware of something lingering in her too, her own desire to create. Eventually, Krish moves in with Florence, and the same monotonous tasks like cooking and even riding the train are more vibrant. Together, you and Florence make room for him in her apartment. The couple eat together, sleep together, share together. Florence encourages Krish to go to school for music that pushes artistic skill forward, almost selflessly. Krish eventually gets frustrated with music, and Florence returns to being unable to deal with the confines of her job. They argue, they stretch, and they split. Suddenly, all the items on the shelf she made space for are being put away again, and the color leaving with them. Recently, I was reminded of the first time my life felt like it was losing color. Oddly enough, it was because of this video. For a long time, my dishes looked like this: bright, plastic, and microwave safe. I thought about arguing with my siblings over who's doing the dishes, being in the kitchen while my mom was washing them, or burning bowls because I forgot to put water in my oatmeal. The condo where we had those dishes is long gone though. My dad got a better job, a nicer paying one. The family would get a bigger house. Of course we'd be better off, right? All I had to do was move away from my friends, my community. Everyone was making sacrifices, and of course I appreciated them. Work would keep taking up more of my dad's time, maybe even a bit of his personality, but you don't make up middle-class money without losing a few things. My dad has always been an engineer. He just used to paint too. The dishes were replaced with ceramic dish sets, more modern, more impressive to other people, more consistent and proper, more muted and monotonous. I remember feeling like my family lost its color around the same time our dishes did. For now, I know that my dad is the only one living in a 5-bedroom house. Florence's story isn't about the bleak uphill struggles in life though, and while it's definitely about the color people can bring in our lives, the game's conclusion hammers home another message stronger. At her desk at home, there's paint. On her paper on her desk, with that paint, Florence can weather some of her current pitfalls. In the same way that I've turned to an empty notebook under the light of a desk lamp, Florence can find some consolation, enough to color her world again. She starts spending time with her mom, quits her job, starts selling her art. Eventually, her paintings are in a gallery. She's talking to people about her art, and they're talking back, telling her what they're getting from it. Because of art, because she's creating, Florence is connecting with people again. I'm almost certain it isn't a stretch to say a fair amount of people would debate Florence's validity as a game. There's a visible amount of people doing that in the comment for it on its Steam page. With it being under an hour long, there are also a lot of people who think it's not worth the price, and that's absolutely fine. Do I think you need to play it? No. But I do think it unquestionably deserves to exist in the way that its creators made it, and honestly, I think I would say the same thing for every piece of art. I think that any art created by someone is at least worth existing. I've been making things for years: music, screenplays, drawings, essays, but I've never really put anything out there because I'd always ask myself, who would bother? I thought it'd be selfish to put out my own words, to make yourself the narrator, to present my own experience. Over time, I've realized two things, in part because of the internet. One, that putting a piece of art somewhere is worth it if that's what I want to do, even if it's just for me. And two, that at least one person will find a way to get something out of what you make. There are plenty of times where my only company on a given night was an hours-long YouTube video on a game I played on a PlayStation 2 over a decade ago, or where the only thing I had to look forward to at the end of the week was a local house show. There were plenty of times where sharing lesser-known art pieces or songs were the basis for entire relationships, and there were plenty of times where trading things I wrote or drew with another person cemented our spots in each other's mind. After all, this art, our words, and our scribbles, they're all extensions of ourselves. I'm a media production major. For one of our finals, our professor asked us to make something that got across our media production goal or dream career. This video is my answer. I love writing, I love telling stories, and I love making things. I just want to make things about things I like as long as I have the means to. All of my favorite creators are people doing just that, and it's incredibly cathartic to see them pouring themselves into projects, regardless of what they get out of it. Recently, I worked with a team to make a game jam project just because we were all interested in game design. That was a great experience for me, and I want to keep doing things like that. I also started a Substack where I'll write and post essays and other bits on things. I know that's going to be good for me too. And of course, I want to keep making videos like this on YouTube because making stuff is what I like to do. Making as a verb has always been a part of whatever makes me myself, and not needing to justify showing off the finished project was a personal block I've overcome now. Telling stories, creating things, connecting with people through art, that's something that makes my life colorful.